Create a product ad for the Fleur Heavy Cream using Haley. Okay, message has been sent. This is what we're going to focus on in this video. Let's watch that run all the way. Running down and posting to TikTok. There we go. Let's check that out. This is my new TikTok account where I post these automated videos. Let's refresh the page. Okay, here it is. Let's check it out.
I always keep this heavy cream in the car. It absorbs so quickly and doesn't leave a greasy residue.
Awesome, you guys get the idea. Let's jump into the workflow. Here's the entire workflow that runs that automation. We're going to be talking about how I created my agents to make this work. Okay, everything is reliant upon these two agents, understanding the user input, gathering the right records from Airtable, and running this entire automation. They will decide how that happens. So we're going to work on building out these agents and setting up the Airtable base. Okay, this is not a full step-by-step video for this entire automation. Everything here is very straightforward. If you want to tackle it, we will be focusing on how I am building my agents to do this work for me. If you want to learn step-by-step how to do this stuff, including learn how to build your content management system that handles all of your content posting for you, to all of the social media platforms you want to post to, all based on a schedule that you set. If you guys want to learn how to build this from scratch, step by step, this is an entire system you can create, package, and sell for your clients. I walk you step by step through 7 days of learning to build the entire content management system where you'll be building AI agents, using automation for AI image generation, and using automation for AI video generation. The system will run on its own. This is my 7-day automation bootcamp, guys. 7 days of learning to become an AI automation expert. I highly recommend going through this course. Right now, it is $10 a month to join. Check it out. I'll have the link in the description of this video. We're going to dive into this workflow. I'll just move off to the side and we can start over here. So the first node, I'll find the Telegram node. We need the Telegram trigger node. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you choose right here. I'll show you why in just a second. I'll go ahead and choose any one of these and add my credential here. There's my credential. Now, the reason it doesn't matter which trigger option we choose is because we're actually going to set this to this little star right here, all updates. So we'll just leave everything set to all. Cool. Click outside of that node. We can move on to the next step. Frequently save your workflow. I'll click the plus to create a new node. This will be Telegram, and we need to get a file. I'll choose my same credential. By the way, guys, if you don't know how to set up a Telegram credential, that is outside of the scope of this video, but you'll need to get into Telegram, have a conversation with BotFather, and set up a new Telegram bot to be able to create your credential. You could even just search on ChatGPT how to set up a Telegram bot, and that'll create an easy walkthrough to create your Telegram bot and credential here. All right, so in my Telegram node, we want to get a file and we need to get the file ID. So I'm going to go ahead and test out this workflow. Now, n8n cannot have multiple Telegram triggers, or I should say Telegram can't have multiple Telegram triggers. So I'm actually just going to come to my previous workflow and I'll just delete this one for now, just to get this demo going for you guys so we can watch this one come through. So I need to test this workflow. I'll go ahead and deactivate this node so that we don't have that red warning. I'm going to come into Telegram, come into my bot right here, and I'll send a voice message across. Testing message. There we go. Let's jump back into n8n. When I hit execute, that actually pulled that last message. It hasn't fired off yet, so we don't need to hit execute workflow before we fire off the message. Let's go ahead and do that now. And there it is coming through. Now, side note here, guys, I'm using Telegram just because it's very easy to automate in n8n. I think there are better triggers out there, there are better tools out there, or now you can simply vibe code a better tool for yourself to upload to and use your voice with. All that stuff is another topic, but in case you're wondering about Telegram here, I'm using it because it's very easy to work with, especially for this demo. You can see how the main automation works without wondering how to get it working, so to speak. Great, I'll reactivate this node. Let's come back into it. Now we can grab that file ID coming through right there. I'll drag that in, drop it down. and hit execute step. Now we're getting that binary for that file. Let's go ahead and add the next node. Click the plus here. This will be OpenAI. Find the OpenAI nodes, and we want to transcribe a recording. Now we have that data are automatically popping in here. The binary is automatically named data. We can get that coming through. I'll hit execute step. Now I am connected to my credential here. You can watch my other videos on how to set up your OpenAI credential if you haven't done so already. And it looks like we got our text coming through, a different text coming through, probably from a previous test I've done. I can go back and send another Telegram message for the test just to make sure, or we can just work with this one. Not gonna worry about this testing message coming through quite yet. So I'm gonna click outside of this node. Let's move on to the next node. This will be OpenAI again. We're going to set up our first AI agent here. So I'm going to click on message a model, same OpenAI credential. I'll choose the model here. GPT-4o mini is very sufficient and it's very cheap, so we'll use that. Now for the prompt, this is an important prompt right here. I'm just going to copy it, you can see it, and then we'll expand upon it. I have a very, very basic prompt inside of here, so I'll show you the full expanded prompt in a second. All right, so here's the very basic prompt. Call the Airtable tool, then call the UUID tool and return UUID in JSON. Very simple. We're going to add another step here. I'm going to use Whisperflow to transcribe my voice. You guys can check out the link for Whisperflow in the description of this video if you want to get this tool. You'll get a free month from me. So I'll just speak into the microphone and transcribe my voice. If the user mentions a name like Haley, for example, the user is suggesting which AI influencer needs to be referenced. So look up using the Airtable tool, look up the influencer name and get the record ID associated with that influencer name. You'll also want to return the record ID. All right, so I'll just fix my retake right here. I'll say simply look up the influencer name and get the record ID associated with that influencer name. I'm going to be specific here as well. I'll say Airtable record ID. We don't want any other ID associated with the record. We want the actual Airtable record ID. And again, right here, I'll fix my mistake. Just copy and paste Airtable record ID. Okay, still a very basic prompt. This is going to do a whole lot. Then I'll come down here and say output content as JSON. Cool, I'll click outside of this node. We can add some tools now. I'll click the plus right here. First tool we need is the Airtable tool. And in the prompt, I just named it Airtable. So I'll just rename it Airtable and specify what I'm actually getting is the influencers. I'll set up my same credential here. So we need to actually get into our Airtable base. Okay, I'm gonna jump over there. All right, so in Airtable, I'll create a new base from scratch. Let's go ahead and build with Omni. If you guys haven't jumped on Airtable, definitely check it out. This is an automation tool. Okay, this is not a spreadsheet. Stop using Google Sheets. This is going to be much, much better. So I've got the link for Airtable down in the description. If you want to use it, you can start using it for free. So with Omni, what we're going to build here, I'll just use Whisperflow to transcribe. I need to build a base for managing my content and content posting. I'll need a table named products where I'm going to store all of my products. It'll have a name field, an attachment field named product, a created time, and a formula field to calculate the record ID. I need another table named API keys. That table will have a name field and a long text field named key. I want a third table named influencers. This table will have a name field, an attachment field named influencer, a long text field named prompt, and a created time field. There we go, transcribed automatically. All of that is my prompt. I'll click build it and we'll get that Airtable base set up. Omni's building everything out, so we can just wait for that. Looks like we have our products table being automatically generated with some dummy data. That is awesome. There's our API keys table with some dummy data. And it looks like the influencers table with that dummy data. Above and beyond here, lots of stuff. Cool, Omni is even creating an interface for us. Just a nice looking front end we can use to work with. So that is awesome. Cool, content and influencer manager interface. Pretty cool. Here's the product gallery. We've got our integrations, API keys, got a dashboard automatically built out. Here's our influencers list and the influencer gallery automatically built out. Very cool stuff using Omni and Airtable. So for the purposes of this demo, this is way overkill, but you can see with one prompt in Airtable what you can build very, very quickly. So I'm gonna head back into the data and we'll just be using the regular data, the table views over here to build all this stuff out. So in the products, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete all of these records. I'll create a new record. So we have a blank and we'll take a look at what we got going on. We have the name field, the attachment field, created time record ID. This looks like a copy here. I'll delete that field. We actually have the record ID formula field that we need. Days since created, I could probably get rid of that. Influencer count, influencers, we got a linked table in here. API keys, got a record ID, that's what we need. Created time, key length, and a summary. This is overkill again. I'll just go ahead and delete out all these records. Overkill just for this video, but obviously super awesome if I wanted to build this out in detail. So I'm just cleaning up all of these fields. Just in case you're new to Airtable, you can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. So I'm going to add in my API keys and stuff right here into this table, and then all my influencers into this table. So I'll delete all these records again, just clear everything out, get rid of all the dummy data, and now we can add in the rest of our details here. So we need to go create an API key for this Airtable base. I'm going to come down here to my settings, click on Builder Hub. I'll open this in a new browser tab, jump into personal access tokens. I'll create an access token right here, name it. In fact, just for this demo, I'll name it the same name as the base, keep everything nice and organized. So that's what I'll name my key. For the scopes, we need to add 3 scopes. This first one, data.recordsRead, click add a scope. This next one, data.recordsWrite, click add a scope. This one down here, schema.basesRead. I'll click add a base. We can assign which base this API key will have access to. There it is, content and influencer manager, then create the token. There's my access key. I'll save that token, jump back into Airtable and immediately save that key in our table right here. I'll paste the key, name it Airtable access token, and keep it like that. Let's jump back into n8n. Now we can set up our credentials. So click into this dropdown. Let's say create new credential. I'll name it. Let's keep the same name here. So I'll just name it the same as my base, keep everything organized, and paste the access token. In case you're wondering how I found those scopes, these are the scopes we inserted. Tells you right there which ones we need to add in Airtable. We'll click save that credential, close this window down, and now we can choose the base. There it is. Choose the table. We want to get our influencers. So we'll look into the influencers table. For the record ID, this is going to come from the AI agent. We need the agent to find this specific record ID for our influencer. Okay, so back in n8n, we'll just click the star right here, say defined automatically by the model. The AI agent is going to find that record ID. Cool, I'll click outside the node. We need to add another tool here. This will be a code node. Very simple code. In fact, I'll just come out of here and copy it from my previous code node. You guys can take a screenshot of this in a second, copy it and paste it down in here. I'll blow this up. You can see it, there it is. Take a screenshot of that, and that's the code. All this is doing is generating a random number here, a random ID. Okay, so it's just creating a number in this format, adding in random numbers, totally randomizing a UUID, so a unique universal ID. Great, so for this tool, we need to add the description here. I'll say call this tool to generate a random UUID. Exactly what it does. I'll name it simply UUID. That is enough context for the model to know that's what we need to do here. So the message model node, let's double click back into it. We got our tools set up. We've got our prompt set up. The last thing we can do, if you want to here, I'll just name this influencer manager agent, something like that. This is our employee that's going to manage all of our influencers for us. Now I want to run this for real to see if it's actually going to grab my influencers. A couple things we need to do first is add some influencers into the Airtable base. So I'm just going to come into my previous base and copy an influencer I already have. The way you're going to create this influencer is simply through image generation, right? Use your favorite image generation tools to create your influencer, however you want to do that. Now the prompts, we can write a new prompt here. This is the specific prompt for Haley. Essentially, this is the prompt I used to generate the image originally. So when you go generate that image, save that prompt. We're going to put it back into the prompt right here. And we're going to add a few things for the add direction. Okay. In this case, let's see if I can find it. Okay. Right here, she holds a product near her chest, tilting it slightly toward the camera. So the branding, callouts, and package design are clearly visible. She never moves the product from hand to hand, keeping it in one hand only. All right, you get the idea. There's some lines about the video direction. So generate your influencer, recycle that prompt, and add some lines about the video direction. Do you want the product to be sitting behind her? Do you want it to be, whatever you want for the video direction and the product? You just add it to the original prompt you used to create your influencer. All right, so in our Airtable base, in the influencers table, you're going to add your name, influencer name, the influencer photo, the prompt. This is the product add prompt, and that will be the context the agent needs to grab this record ID. So let's go test it out. I'm going to jump into Telegram. We may have to tune up how the agent is grabbing the name, but let's try it out. I'll send that message off, say something like, create a product add video using Haley. Let's jump back into n8n. I'll save the workflow and just run it from the beginning, hitting the execute workflow button right here. Yeah, as expected, probably need to tune up how the agent is looking for that name. Actually, coming back in here, it looks like the audio is not even coming through. So I think my mic is not even working with Telegram. But what's great about this, and kind of the point of it all, is that we can do this from the Telegram app using my phone. So I'll just send a message using my phone. Create a product add video using Haley. There we go. Run it again, and we should get that coming through. Great, so let's go fix that prompt. I'm building this in here kind of loosely, vibe prompting the agent just so you guys can get an idea of troubleshooting. Building automations is 90% troubleshooting. You're going to have to troubleshoot to get through anything that you build, no matter what. So let's make an iterative pass on our prompt. Ultimately, we're trying to get an influencer by their name. So we need to give more context to the agent on finding that name. You can see in the transcription that the name was transcribed with this spelling, and in my Airtable base, the name has this spelling. So we need to specify that tolerance. So I'm going to name this more strictly to rec ID, capital I. That'll give some context here and make sure the agent knows this is the field we're looking for to find that record ID. Let's save it, jump back into n8n, and we'll tune up the prompt. I'll expand it so we can add these details in here. So call the Airtable tool. Let's also name this more strictly Airtable influencers tool. Then call the UUID tool and return UUID in JSON. If the user mentions a name like Haley, for example, the user is suggesting which AI influencer needs to be referenced. Look up the influencer name, then get the Airtable record ID associated with that influencer name. I'll say the Airtable record ID is located in this field. Then I can paste in that field name right there. Okay, let me space this out so you can see it a little better. So you'll also want to return the Airtable record ID. We'll say you'll also want to return the rec ID value correctly in the tool, something like that. Now, I'm still being very loose with this because what I'm going to do here is copy this, come into ChatGPT, paste it in there and say, this is my prompt for my AI agent that is looking up records in an Airtable base. They need to find a record based on the name field, find a name, then grab the record ID, the Airtable record ID associated with that record, and use the Airtable tool attached to the agent. Write me the best, highest performing AI agent prompt for n8n OpenAI agent node. Okay, something like that. You don't have to be specific. You can kind of ramble on with these meta prompts. Just get your point across. Just make sure you know exactly what you're trying to do and communicate that. However you communicate that, it will be fine. So that's exactly what I want. Let's send that off. And here is a much better prompt. I'll go ahead and copy this whole thing and boom, that is a massive prompt compared to what we had. Much better. Let's jump back into n8n and paste that entire prompt. Before we run this, we need to make sure the agent is actually getting that context. So let's switch this role to the system role. This is now our system prompt. Let's click add a message. And for the user prompt, we'll add in the text right here. Let's click execute step. I'll back out so we can watch this one run through. Cool, one more error. Again, kind of building this in here for you guys so you can see how we troubleshoot. I'm going to open this one up and we'll change the operation here. Let's have the agent search all of the influencers. Instead of get, for the operation, let's say search. Now we can have the agent search that entire list to make sure we're coming back with the correct name. Cool, you can see it's searching all of these different names, trying to find Haley and didn't find any. So we need to search the entire list. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. I'll save the workflow, run this node again. There we go. And there we go. Cool. So simple fix right there, changing the operation. Things like that, it happens all the time. You think you have an idea for how something should work, you keep working on it, you keep troubleshooting, and it's actually the wrong thing entirely. So learning that kind of stuff, backtracking and fixing your errors, it takes a lot of time when you're building. So anyway, just wanted to build in that troubleshooting for you guys. We won't do any more of that. You get the idea. We'll power through this and keep going. So we have our influencer manager agent. We need our copy manager or our product manager. In fact, I'll just duplicate this agent, drop it down right here. Let's rename it product manager agent. Right away, we can connect it to the ID tool, and I'll duplicate this node, drop it down here and plug it in right there. We're going to do the same thing, but for the products. So I'll rename this node. Let's rename it to products. Cool. Let's double click into the product manager agent. We want the same structure here. We're going to get the prompt from the same place. That is the transcribe a recording node, but the system prompt technically will be the same thing, but focused on the product table. I'm gonna come back into ChatGPT. This is our big, huge prompt for our influencer agent. Let's say, create a similar prompt for an AI agent that will handle managing products. The agent will look up products in a product table in Airtable, using an Airtable node to search the records and return the correct values. The user will input a product name, and the agent must find that product name and associate it with a record ID from Airtable. Same structure, but for products. Cool. There's my big long meta prompt, rambling prompt. Let's send that off. Great. I'll copy this prompt, jump back into n8n and paste it in here. I'll back out of it. Let's jump into this node. We're going to change the table right here. Products, and we need to get a product in there. So I'm going to jump back over to Airtable, come into the products table, and I can drop in some products here. So I'm just going to hide these fields, just get the relevant information here. So we have the product name and the product photo. I'm going to grab something I just took a screenshot of from TikTok, something like that. We'll use that. That is fine for this demo. Drop it in there. And what is this? This is Fleur Heavy Cream. Okay, let's do that. Fleur Heavy Cream. Created time field, this didn't come in correctly. I'll just change this real quick. The created time field will be a created time field type. Change it. There we go. So same thing here. The agent needs to grab this name and associate it with this record ID. I'm going to name this record ID field the same as we named it over in the other field, just to keep it weird looking so the agent knows, all right, this is the field name we actually need here. REC capital ID. Let's jump back into n8n and run this one. We're going to need to send a new prompt because now we need to gather that product information as well. So I'm going to get on my phone, demo this. I'll say, let's create a product ad using Haley for the Fleur Heavy Cream. There we go. That one is sent off. I'll save my workflow here and manually trigger the workflow. While that's running, we could check the transcription that came through. This right here, as I figured, it's going to spell that with an F. We'll see how the agent does. Looks like we got something back, and it came back with the correct product name, giving us that record ID. That's awesome right there. So now we're getting our influencer and our products, guys. This was the hardest part, setting up the AI agents. These are very robust, very powerful agents we just built, okay? You can copy and paste this framework for many, many use cases. Okay, having agents that can grab records from Airtable and manipulate that data with simple language, This is incredibly powerful. Okay, very well done making it to this point. We're now getting the record IDs for the appropriate products, and we're getting all that information to come through. The next step, we could potentially write another agent that will write engaging captions for our social media posts. That's definitely doable, but you guys have all the tools you need. Meta prompting your agents in ChatGPT, very, very powerful. Okay, so the next node, just to finish this off, let's create a new node. This will be an edit fields node. You can type in set to find the edit fields node, and we're gonna map in all the data that we need to pass on. So I'm gonna grab the transcription in case we wanna write that social media copy writing manager. We'll have the original input. So I'll name this user input. Then I'll grab the information coming from the manager agents. We'll grab Haley. We'll name this one influencer name. We'll grab the record ID, name it just like that. And we'll grab the unique ID for Haley, name it just like that. Let's grab the product. Here's the product name. In fact, let's just name this influencer. Product name, we'll name just like that. Let's get the record ID for the product. So let's distinguish these two items here, right? We'll name this one influencer rec ID, and this one is influencer unique ID. This one is product rec ID. We'll drag in this unique ID right here, and we'll name this one product ID. Cool. Go ahead and execute the step. All this is doing is organizing all the data in the workflow into one place. We can reference this node. So this is getting all of the Airtable data, all Airtable data. We're going to pass that on. We have our influencer information and the product information. Cool. So that is it, guys. That is the first row. Again, let me know if you want to see anything more. This is just the, heavily talked about how am I getting my agents to do this work for me. Everything else is very straightforward, very linear, passing things on into Supabase to get those URLs, passing those URLs into Nano Banana for the image creation, then into VO3 for the full video, and sending that down the chain to post to social media. We can post to Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever social media you want to using this tool right here. I'll have the link to this tool in the description of this video as well. So definitely check that out, and like and subscribe, comment if you want to see the rest of these flows. It's pretty simple, but if you guys want to see that, I'll go ahead and just build this one out and create those videos for you. So appreciate you for being awesome. Again, if you want to join my school community, I show you how to build all of this stuff step by step from scratch in a very manageable way. And even if you're an absolute beginner, this is kind of an intermediate pace we went through today. If you're an absolute beginner, jump into my course. It's $10. Jump into my course. I show you how to build an entire content management system that will handle all of your content creation and production for you. So I look forward to seeing you in that group, and I'll see you in the next video.